All right, welcome everybody. This is first edition of Quarantine Conversations. I am with Big Daddy G and Tyrone, who produced the Big Daddy G show. Where are you guys? Where are you guys at right now?
So we're in G's garage. It's-
Right.
Well, it's a garage, but it's like a big garage. So it's not like we're sitting in a little tiny place. It's a big place.
yeah,
The limo has to have some place to stay. You know.
I don't know. Well, we're set up at G's pad. I just set up
And
this
since I'm not driving,
beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So we're set up remotely during these times during this pandemic. I think all artists in Austin have really stepped up and gone basically the virtual route where we stream from home. All the artists in Austin, musicians, painters, all the people I know, they've been setting up basically remotely from their house and having like mini concerts. So yeah, it was a real weird spiral. The city started a lockdown. They started closing a lot of places. Everything has been kind of changing rapidly over the days. But now I think everyone's kind of trying to find their place within this new internet realm that we're dealing with. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting times. I think back in March. Sorry, let me wipe my face. In March 17th, everything started closing, including Austin Public. The city of Austin, rightfully so, decided to close a lot of the non-essential places. And there's Doug.
Yeah, it was March 16th.
March 16th, so I'm one day off. So we had our show on March 17th, and we usually tape in Studio One at Austin Public, which is an amazing space. And we were going to tape our show there, and to keep everyone safe, they decided to close all the non-essential things. And one of those things is the studio. So we had to adapt. We had to adapt and figure out, hey, how are we going to keep creating? So the first night we were going to tape in a bar. We set up everything to tape in a bar, and then the city of Austin said, oh, we're going to close bars now. So then we had to scramble, and we ended up taping at our friend Kevin Haveron's house in his living room. So it was even more intimate to woo. Yeah.
How did that go?
It went pretty well. We got, more like at least 1,000+ views, through Facebook.
Oh, wow.
So we did pretty well on that episode. We love Kevin Haveron. He's an amazing musician.
and Becca.
And yeah, Becca Johnson. And so it was kind of like, we're going to wing it type thing. And
Right.
now things have changed. You and Charles are actually working on something. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, so we, right after the city shut us down, or at least the building, so we're still sending content out over the channels, the 3 public access channels. And right about that point, Telview, our playback system, they started sending emails about how to use OBS, which is a free open source streaming software. And so we started researching that, and it's usually what we allow the producers to go live out of the studios onto their social media. And so we kind of reversed it, and now people at home can use OBS to then send us a signal to the channels. And so we tested it out, and then y'all were one of the first that I reached out to, along with a couple other, or I guess all of the live shows, but y'all were the first to reach out and say, yes, we want to try this out. And there were a few others that have done it now. I think we've had 4 live shows use OBS. I've now had about 5 or 6 other producers reach out, even people who haven't gone live before, don't have live shows, that they're doing either church services or music. They usually give us files, but they're interested now. So I think it really is going to change when we get out of this. It's going to change the total just kind of landscape of how we submit content, live programming to the channels. It doesn't have to be in the building anymore. We don't have the live view backpack like we used to have. So there hasn't really been a way to remote send a feed to us. So yeah, it's been good. There was a producer on Monday night, Cole, or I guess he's been on Saturdays. He actually went live from Poland, which was awesome.
I wanted to watch that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so he's going to be live. Today, right now, is it's a Thursday. So was it April 16th? So he's going to go live again from Poland. So I guess he's with his girlfriend there, and he has to quarantine there. He can't come back, so he went about a week ahead before everything shut down. So it looked great, and then a few other producers have gone live. So yeah, it's worked out. We tried it our first time. I tried to help you guys out last week, and it was
we figured it out. I think we were like the guinea pigs to get it done right, and then
for sure.
Tuesday did amazing. We did an hour straight show. Mike Blizzard, who's one of the board members at Austin Film Society, and also made a really amazing film, also starring Austin. So it was really great to pull that off, because now it kind of, even when maybe this stuff kind of slows down, the pandemic and everything, we might be able to even have concerts remotely. Literally, like in Austin, like at a local venue, we could tape an interview and go remotely from anywhere, just about. And that from Poland, Yeah. What the heck?
I think so. We had already bought a Sling studio. We were testing it out, and you can use an iPad to switch. And I think, we've been working towards a smaller multicam kit. Right now at Austin Public, if you take out the Sony Anycast and you take out a few camcorders and the intercom systems and all that stuff, it's a lot of gear, right? And it's a lot of bags. So I think this really is going to push Charles and I to get multicam kits as small as possible, where you just need your laptop and OBS, or maybe we actually buy a better software and have logins for those laptops, and then we have cameras, smaller cameras, and they just go into laptop, and you're just switching. Now that we can go live through OBS or any other software that has where you can type in a server and a stream key. So it's pretty great. I'm 100% sure that all of this existed beforehand. It's just really we hadn't been pushed to really figure it out. So
I think it lit a fire underneath y'all, and it really.
For sure.
Everyone, and I think all creatives, were like I went to Walmart yesterday looking for an audio mic, just looking for a USB mic, and all of them were sold out.
Yeah, webcams, everyone. There's some businesses definitely that are banking on all this.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like a musician, Jackie Benson, started her own live series from her house or whatever, and so it's just really crazy seeing even like the Black Pumas. I can't remember the guitarist's name. He's a local artist here in Austin, and he's doing a live stream, from his backyard, so it's like the backyard concerts, the home concerts.
Yeah, I've watched a few. I'm a big fan of Guy Forsyth, and he's been doing concerts from different parts of his house. And so it's like his house tour. So he's one day he's in his kitchen, one day he's in his bedroom, one day he's in his not bathroom, I don't know, but backyard. So it's been fun. And then they'll put up his his donation link and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
So when did y'all get started on this remote thing? Because I know this came about and y'all started kind of studying, tapping into the Teleview link up with OBS. But what was like I know this, it all came pretty quickly. Right now we're in April. We've been locked down for a while now. I don't know, since March-ish. We said March 16th. So I don't know when the lockdown started.
I think it was about a week later. I think we were suspended through the city on March 16th, and then we shut down March 17th. And then I think about a week or so later, there was actual shelter in place or stay-at-home order for all non-essential businesses through the end of March, and then it was extended through April 13th, and then now it's through May 8th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, my question was, when did y'all say, "Oh man, there's a need for doing this remote"?
As soon as the city suspended our operations, we knew that we needed to if all we had was the programming, that we needed to make sure that everyone knew how to upload online. There's still people who were bringing content to us, but that wasn't going to be possible. And then, so that was priority number one, is making sure that everyone knew how to upload through TeleView Connect. And then all of us were set up to program from home. So Charles had been set up, but we made sure that our IP addresses to get through the firewall, and I have the ability to program through the channels from home. And then after that, it was, how can we be creative with people programming from home? So it was, there were other things happening, with staff changes and stuff that Charles and Eric, our director, were working with. And my focus has always been like, how can we be creative with producer content and getting to people? We started downloading all the PSAs that we could from the CDC and about coronavirus, and getting those on the channels, and also getting those on the VOD. We have a ticker that goes on the channels twice a day on each channel that talks about where you can find information about coronavirus from the city's website. So from day one, when we were, even before we were suspended, when this really became, when it kind of hit home, we, Brian, Charles, and I all were talking about how can we make the station a way to get information out, right? What can we do with the public access channels just to be a source of information?
Well, y'all have done an incredible job. Like, I remember I was looking through the when stuff was hitting the fan, and a nice way of saying that. When it was getting crazy, I like to look through the schedule to see what's playing on austinfilm.org. I just hit that little Austin Public tab, and I'll just tune in from time to time. And I just saw the list of Corona PSAs. Like, it was full, and I was like, this is after going through. Everyone was very tuned into the news, and so I was trying to get some different content, and I was just watching PSAs, and I was just like, wow, like, it's just crazy how quick we are to like jump and just put information out there. It's pretty incredible, like how quick that is.
For sure. That was something that Brian was pushing, and also myself, Charles, we were looking for everything that we could. And then how to wash your hands, what's the symptom. I mean, from A to Z, anything that CDC was putting out, we've got on the channels now, in Spanish and English. So, but that was our big focus. And then after that, we really kind of transitioned into classes. So that was something that Erica, our director, and I had kind of put off for a while, because we really wanted to focus on the programming. And so then we finally, last week would have been early April, we taught orientation and media policy online, which was interesting. And I learned a few things that'll be better for next time. It's not, I like to see people's faces, right? When you're in the conference room and you have a room full of people and you're interacting, and you can tell when your terrible jokes are landing or not. And when you're on a video conferencing, people don't have their cameras on. I can't see their faces. So it's a little different, but it was a success, and the test was put online. And so we have that again on the 21st, on April 21st. Those are posted online. And then we're also teaching our cinematography class with Angel Granados, our cinematography instructor. We're doing that online at a lower cost, and that is going to be April 29th, which is a Wednesday, from 6 to 9 p.m. And that's posted on AFS, our website, under the classes and events. So we're starting to go that route. We're trying to get hopefully maybe a pre-production class up there, and we'll just start rolling out more and more. If the longer we're closed, the more creative we'll be. But it's just tough to teach a camera or audio gear, or you can't teach a studio online. So there's going to be a lot of the classes that we can't do online, but we're starting to post classes and do what we can with that.
Well, you have some online teachings as far as like training videos that you've done, at Austin.
For sure. Yeah.
There are some things that we can learn, like OBS remotely. There's a lot of things that you've helped us walk through to be able to go live remotely. And so there are things that you still can do and learn from. It's just the hands-on things that like a camera, lens, like stuff like that you may need some. Right.
And there's a lot of refresher videos, if you are a producer and you've gone through the studio classes, and obviously we might go 2 months without you using the studio. So all those videos are on the website to to refresh. And if you're interested in the producer program, you can go through the entire process. You can do orientation, you can do media policy online, and then I'll send you the survey where you can just fill out some demographics, and then we need a scan of your photo ID and your proof of the Austin area residency, and then you'll get the payment link to pay for your month or for the year, which right now, for everyone who is currently a producer, we're postponing for 2 months. So everyone's getting essentially a free 2 months. So the next round of payments won't happen until late May into June. But if somebody wants to go through the producer process, right now it's happening online. And if you want to start airing content, you can do that and pay the subscription fee. Or if you just want access to the gear, then you can do the startup process and then wait until we reopen to take classes and then pay the subscription. So just, right now it is what it is, and we're doing the best that we can.
Well, you're doing an incredible job, and really we do appreciate like all the hard work that the station's going through, and to be like, it's just crazy. I'm looking forward to the future when we can bring multicam to like a venue and like on a live show. Like imagine if we had 3 cameras at the Paramount and had like a full audience. Like how that would be amazing. Like that would be insane. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be nice. Unfortunately, I feel like it's gonna be a while before we have gatherings. So
I got you. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm hoping that I don't have any information. I'm hoping that we'll be back open at least maybe for checkout here in the future. We've already reached out to producers just to get assess people's needs during the shelter in place, just to see if people would be interested in grabbing it now. We haven't gotten any green light from the city on that, but that's one thing that we're talking about. And then after the shelter in place is done on May 8th, if it's not extended, then hopefully we'll have some limited use of the building. And then it may still be a while before bars and restaurants are fully open, and it may even be longer. I don't know if there's going to be large gatherings until there's a cure or a vaccine for this, but who knows?
I was listening to like the Joe Rogan Experience. They were talking about it. They were saying like, because they do stand up, and it might be a while before you could have a big audience, but you never know. There's devoted fans that might go nuts and go see a show if they're healthy and they practice all the precautions. 6 feet apart. Might have to wear a mask, but I love how creative people are being. It's really fun to see the late night shows from home. Obviously it's not ideal, but in the current situation when I'm a big sports fan, so I don't have any sports to watch. I've been watching a lot of football replays on YouTube, but to see things like, I don't know if you saw SNL was really cool to see them doing it through video conferencing. If you've seen John Krasinski's Some Good News is awesome. The Hamilton musical part that they did was amazing. And so stuff like that, it's just really fun to see how creative people are being with, the video conferencing stuff. So. Yeah, it's not like just to see like even just the applications that are popping up, like StreamYard is pretty amazing. You got Zoom, Skype, all these people are using all these different applications. And like, those are the people that are, gaining the most. Like, it's just nuts to see like people adapt. Be like, oh, we'll just throw StreamYard on and just plug and play, and it's pretty amazing.
Kind of breaks down some walls too. I feel like seeing people's homes and spouses, and I'm here technically on the clock for AFS talking to you guys, but I'm sitting, I'm wearing sweatpants and I'm in my house and I have my dog sitting next to me. So it's just kind of interesting. It's not a situation I don't feel like we'd ever be in if you weren't here. So there's definitely what
kind of dog? Yeah, you got a whip. You can't mention dog.
What kind of dog you got, man?
I've got a boxer. Oh my goodness.
So cool. I don't know how you get through anything.
He's so scared.
Boy,
75. She's heavy. She's 75 pounds. So I did my best.
They're very calm animals, boxers.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She's a cat. I think she was reincarnated as a cat. She's super lazy. She doesn't play with toys. She doesn't mind dogs. Like she gets along with dogs, but you know, I used to live in an apartment. I would take her out to the dog park, and she would sit there and watch all the dogs running around. And then when all the dogs left, she would then go run around by herself. It's the weirdest thing. She would much rather be with the humans. So she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, she knows they're all dogs anyway. But
where's your cat? Do you have a cat?
the cat, well, the cat is kind of far away right now.
But I can go get it.
Do you want to go get one?
I'll get a cat.
No,
a kitten.
Let's not get him because I don't want to stress out the mom.
Yeah,
we did get the little kitten.
We'll do a plug. If you want to see their cat, then go check out the last stream of the Big G show on Facebook, and the cat makes an appearance at the end.
Yeah, exactly. That was only one kitten. There's 3 other kittens. So
yeah, there's
all together.
More to come, I guess. Yeah. But yeah.
But I'm not sure if I'm an aunt or an uncle yet because they're still little teeny tiny kittens. So
all right, sorry. Go.
Let me ask you guys a serious question. Have either of you had to give yourself a haircut yet?
Yes.
Can we see it?
Awful.
Did you find out? How did you know to ask that question?
No, I know that other people are doing it. I got a haircut right before the Texas Film Awards, March 10th or something. So I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, so my hair was down to my shoulders and needed a haircut real bad. And I was around G like before an episode, and I said, "Hey G, do you think you can cut my hair?" And this guy cut my hair, which is not too bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Dude, I did a great job, man.
Not too bad, but you can tell like that is homemade, man.
Yeah, I kind of messed up in a few places, but the cats look great.
Yeah, I'm sure
they got a haircut too. So they look
but not
great.
too bad. Like I was freaking out. Like he like chopped off a chunk, and I was like, dude, like there's a patch of hair missing right here. And he's like,
it was bad.
It was bad, man. But I'm fine now. That's where they invented hats, so you can cut.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Joe James.
Yeah, Joe James, awesome band.
Yeah, that's my hat.
Yeah,
yeah. How did you hear about the haircut thing, or did you just come up with that?
I just know other people, just family, friends, people on Facebook that I've seen are having to give. My brother gave his youngest kid is about, he's 6. He gave him like a buzz cut. So it's just, I don't know, it's just fun because I know a lot of the people are giving terrible haircuts. So
our friend Nora, she posted cause she has a friend of ours, Cole Allen, who's on the TV series Kidding. Nora and Sean, they're staying at home. Obviously, they live here in Austin, and they were doing a game where they would draw from a hat, and it would decide which sibling gives the other sibling a haircut.
Nice.
I know. I was like, that is so cool. Like, just to keep their family, they're not going to be calm after the haircut, but at least it's to have fun with it, and not stress. So they were cutting each other's hair. So
nice. All right, what's your first meal out when this is all over?
Yeah, you go first. Yeah.
Well,
I know.
Doug, I've been going out.
But the restaurants are closed. What's your first restaurant that you're going to go to?
Oh, now the restaurants that are closed. I don't know. All my restaurants are open. So
yeah, we did
all of your restaurants are.
I mean, I guess not everything. Not everything.
Everything
is takeout. No, as far as like a sit-down meal. What's your first sit-down meal at a restaurant that's not allowing sit-down meals?
Probably Joe's Italian Kitchen in Pflugerville. I am craving their chicken Alfredo, something awful, man. And Joe's Italian Kitchen in Pflugerville, man. Oh, it's delicious Italian food, all made from scratch. And everybody's so nice there. I don't know what's yours.
I'm trying to think. Well, the place I normally go to, there's a really awesome Mexican restaurant. There's two. There's one in Elgin, and then there's one in Bastrop. But the one in Bastrop is called Guadalajara.
Oh yeah,
and it's such a good. Like they make these giant margaritas.
what?
Yeah, and yeah, I would love to go eat there. Everything's to go, so you can't really have a drink anywhere. It's mainly like you all.
Yeah, some places are doing drinks to go. Yeah, so my wife and I, we went on March 16th before we knew that everything was gonna get shut down. We went to Chewy's, so that was our last meal out. So I don't know what mine would be. It would probably be Mexican food, just to get a good margarita. We've been making them here at home, but so Chewy's again.
Yeah,
I'll be there in a few minutes.
All right.
Phone call coming through. My bad. Of course.
So I guess we just ask another question. How are you guys, other than I guess the live shows, are you guys interacting with your fans any different than you would have before?
The first time we went live, we've been doing Facebook Live a lot for a while now, but the main thing we did to interact, one time we did a fireside chat where we literally had people call on my cell phone to just ask questions to Big G here, and so that was probably one of the most interactions we had there. And this past broadcast, brought to you by Doug, we did a StreamYard, but it has this really cool thing where it shows the comments coming in live from Facebook, so you literally can see people commenting on your content, and you can say hello. I think Charles even commented, he says it's nice to see you going live. And G was like, "Hi, Charlie."
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah. I was like, that is just really cool that we're able to do something like that. And yeah, so that was I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is there anything else that just you both as creative people are doing differently right now? I've noticed that with my, the more time I have, I've been doing a lot more Photoshop. I've done some edits. The edit we showed on the show on Tuesday. I feel like I'm kind of going back to pre-station manager, creativity levels with having some additional time. So anything you guys are doing, or anything you've picked up just to stay creative?
Well, one thing I make Tyrone do is we'll meet up every couple of days, and then we sit down and we think about new ideas for the show, like new segments for the show. And dude, we've come up with some really, really neat ideas for films that have never been done before. I can't tell you what they are, but really awesome stuff, man. And I'm sure the organic materials around me are helping with the creative juices. Speaking of creative juices,
I started writing a feature script, just kind of around all our crew, just kind of a low budget type thing, that like a personal film. I started writing more because when you're at home, why not write? You can write a short film, you can write a book, you can write, a feature screenplay. So there's a lot of things you can do at home right now when, things are dead. It's quiet. People are at home, read a book, paint, draw, whatever that you're into.
I'm reading a book, Doug.
Yeah. What's in the book?
This is my book that I read on a daily basis.
Put the booze away.
You see it?
Yeah, he sees it.
So I hide this.
I like how it's something that's like perfectly legal to have out and about. I was expected to be.
Be something. All right, but yeah, that's legal. But yeah, basically everyone's just trying to figure out what they're doing, because at first, I was stressed, so I did a lot of meditating. Just trying to figure out what's going on. But once you get adjusted to what's going on, you're like, I gotta keep creating. Why am I'm not just gonna sit here and do nothing. So we started to do videos like Corona Chronicles. We started doing that. We did one.
Corona Chronicles. That's good.
Just showing like kittens and.
The whole thing was supposed to be about the cat, but then I found out that if we take the kittens away from the mom, it's going to be too stressful on the mom. So we decided not to do that anymore. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to different. It's funny that you mentioned this, but at different restaurants, and we're going to go in the limo, and we're going to set up a table outside the restaurant. And we're going to have lunch or dinner or breakfast at these different restaurants out in their parking lot, and just kind of shoot a little video about that, and that'll be the Corona Chronicles. So
nice. It's funny. Yeah, I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm going to pick up some food, and I have a table in the back of my 4Runner with a couple chairs. And I'm going to go have, even though I see my wife every day, I just thought it'd be fun to have lunch at her work. In her parking lot, because she's still her company is essential. They make products for moms and babies, health products, and so she's essential at the essential job. So she's still been working, 8 to 4 every morning. So so we're gonna go attempt to have lunch in her parking lot tomorrow because I am not allowed inside that building. I'm not sick or anything. They're just they're taking temperature twice a day at their job, and so they take it pretty seriously.
How long have y'all been married?
A little over 2 years. So
2 years?
February 24th was 2 years.
Awesome.
2 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's really cool that you're going to go do that because that's really cool. Women like stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to, you bring that little pick.
Actually, I met her at Austin Public. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
My entire life revolves around Austin Public. I feel like I live there. Well, not right now, but she was on staff with Channel Austin. So we started dating after the Film Society took over, and there were only 3 of us that were hired on from AFS out of a staff of I believe it was 8 or 9, and so we started dating shortly after that.
Awesome.
So that would have been 2015.
Dang. Woo! Yeah. 2 years. She's putting up with you for 2 years. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Do you put the clothes in your dirty clothes in the hamper, or do you just throw them on the floor?
I put them in the hamper. I'm actually pretty organized. I think I'm a pretty organized person. It's weird, I try to keep the house pretty clean, but my car is a mess. I don't know. I don't care about that. I don't know why I don't care about my car being a mess. I know it goes back to being a delivery driver. I delivered food for years. That was my motivation to get a job in
floorboard foot of seats, right?
Yeah. The receipt board. Yeah.
Do you have a floor full of receipts?
It's random. It's all the coffee mugs and cups and trash and things. I don't know. Yeah.
Hey Doug, nobody's listening. Just between you and me, did you ever taste any of the food that you were delivering?
Did I ever taste it?
Yeah.
No, because there was so much to go around. I delivered at Pluckers for when they used to deliver food before it got shut down for COVID. Now they're back to delivering, but there were so many canceled deliveries or food left over at the other night that I ate Pluckers for 2 years straight, and I'm surprised I didn't have a heart attack.
I like their waffle fries.
No, you got to get the. All right, what's your favorite wing from Pluckers? Or I got Gold Rush tenders is what I would get.
I do Baker's Gold. I step it up. So Baker's Gold's a mix of Gold Rush and then I think Cajun and medium sauce. It was a manager at the time when I was there, Baker. I think it was Josh Baker. Baker's Gold, and then I like spicy ranch, but I'll always do the tenders over the bone-in wings.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So.
Well, there's a Pluckers right up the road from AFS.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I miss going to the cinema and then walking over to Pluckers. So
yeah,
one day we will get back to that.
Bar, folks, a full bar.
Yeah. Well.
All right.
Thing to go. All right. Let's get back to. All right.
Okay.
So
jump back in. So, are there any organizations right now that you guys want people to support that you want to give a shout out about?
Obviously, Austin Film Society is at the top of the list just because during this time, AFS Cinema is closed, the studio's closed, and all the rentals there. So there's not a lot of money coming in to Austin Film Society, which allows us to have a television show, to even be able to be talking with you right now. wouldn't be possible without Awesome Film Society. They support filmmakers. They're still doing grants. During this time, art is what's, going to be impacted the most, because a lot of people in society treat art as like the last thing that's important. It's normally in Texas, it's like football and that's it. So like, art needs to be funded, so because people are still need to create content. This pandemic would be a perfect documentary to make. What a filmmaker can tell us what's going on, and art shines a light on everything during times like this. So I don't know. I can't say enough about Awesome Film Society. I'm a member, a Make member. G's a member as well. So if you can support Awesome Film Society, via virtual screenings, or make a contribution, or become a producer at Awesome Public, all those are different ways you can support the Film Society and keep them going. Because without the Film Society, it's really hard for a lot of people in Central Texas to create without having Awesome Film Society, awesomefilm.org around. So we just need to keep it flourishing. And
yeah, for sure.
Support your musicians too, like Ham Benefit, Black Fret.
Joe James.
Yes, Joe James is one of the
Sean Peace.
Yeah, well, there's bands out there. People put Venmos on their stuff, but you have to look up that on their band sites and stuff like that. But yeah, just try to support art, music. There's different foundations here in Austin that help people out, and just look up how to support whatever, fill in the blank during this time, and you can find it through Google.
Sounds good to me.
Is there Awesome Film? Yeah. He's the biggest one. To me.
Yeah.
Hookers need love too. All right.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note.
Hi, girls, and some guys, I think.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any final thoughts, questions for me? Just anything else you want to chat about?
I know that since you're basically grown in-house at Awesome Public, you were saying earlier, you mentioned a lot of the things in your life surround everything about Awesome Public. How did you get in the position you are now, going from filmmaker to basically like a media curator? Like, how did you get to where you are now, and how did you start helping manage Awesome Public?
It was right place and right time and a lot of luck, I guess. So I started out as a producer in 2013 at the station, and called PACT, Public Access Community Television at the time. And I was just kind of floating out there in the freelance world, trying to find a landing spot. I was at I went to UT in 03. I did not get into communications, did not get into film school. I really didn't feel like I had a purpose there. My grades definitely took a hit for that reason. I lost any opportunity to transfer in. And so I was going to ACC after dropping out of UT, and started taking some classes there. And then I did an internship at Austin Film Festival, and then I found public access through a Craigslist ad for someone looking for a camera operator for the music show. And that was in the same slot that you guys are in right now, Channel 10, not Channel 10, but Tuesdays at 10 p.m. in Studio One. And so I started running camera for Infinite Hour, and the person who was producing that is now a really good friend of mine. Was in our wedding, and he was the production services person for PACT. And then I got on staff as a part-time equipment specialist. I forget what we were called back then, working weekends. And then I became full-time, which finally got me out of the food industry, which, was a huge motivating factor, trying to get out of the food industry as a server and a delivery driver. And so I was full-time as an equipment specialist. And then I started showing off my graphic skills, with Photoshop. And then I was doing After Effects and also Cinema 4D for 3D modeling. And so I started taking over some more of the promotional content. It's a small staff. I think at the time it was 14 people. And so any skills that you can show off, anything that you can do to kind of expand what you do at the nonprofit is really just going to be beneficial. And so when there was a cut, first, I think it was a 30% budget cut in 2011, then there were about 4 or 5 people laid off. And luckily I had shown that I could do production work, I could do graphics, I was working in the equipment room, and I was kept on and I was promoted to programming director, which sounds fancy, but I was a one person, I was in charge of myself. There wasn't really a department, but I was programming the channels at that point and making promotions and doing a lot of production work. The city allowed us to make production, have gigs, get hired on for production work. And then whatever we made got put right back into public access. And so that was, did that role until, and that's, Charles came around at that point. He was an intern. My wife came on as well. She was an intern and then on staff. And so people, around my life still, I met at those like 4 years between 2011 and 2014, 15. And then the Film Society took over in 2015 when the contract ended for Channel Austin. And then through all that, I was promoted to station manager. So I applied for that job. And I did not get the job. I was hired on by AFS, and 3 weeks in, whatever happened, the woman that was hired for the station manager role was not there anymore, and I was promoted. And so,
here it is. And that was in 2014 or
2015. So the contract for Channel Austin, which started out as Public Access Community Television PAC, then changed their name. We changed their name to Channel Austin around 2008, 2009. I wasn't on staff yet. And just to kind of get away from the stigma of public access, the internet wasn't really what it is now with how we stream content out on Roku and Apple TV and Amazon Fire. And so I think the management at the time was trying to get away from the access word and or public access. I can't really say specifically, but they called it Channel Austin. And the tagline was, channeling everything Austin. And so that was a 10-year contract from 2005 to 2015. And they had taken over from ACTV, Austin Community Television, who ran it all the way from 1973 on to 2005.
Wow.
And there was a pretty big shakeup in 2005. And the Channel Austin was awarded the contract. And they had one 6-year contract renewed in 2011 with a budget cut. And then it was a 4-year contract from 2011 to 2015. The city puts out a request for a proposal, and any nonprofit in town, someone even from Denver had applied for it. They had some awesome presence, and anyone can apply to take over what we do. And so the Film Society won, and we all reapplied for our jobs with AFS, and 3 people: Charles, who knew the equipment room really well; Brian, our engineer, who was also kind of came with the building at that point, and myself programming the channel. So really the 3 things that AFS needed the most help with to hit the ground running day one. The 3 of us were hired on. And unfortunately, my friend Orlando, who was the reason why I found public access to begin with, who was doing Infinite Hour, was laid off, as well as my wife, who was not my wife at the time, and then a few other people that left. And so, but then, we hired on Max Benitez, a production services specialist, is awesome. And then Orlando came back, and he's kind of our number 1 guy to do production work. So it's kind of all worked out. I feel like with that staff from Channel Austin, everyone who really wanted to be plugged back in, I think was.
So I have a question for you now. Starting, looking back then till now, how do you think you did your job? Because a lot of amazing things have came out since then. I started on as a producer around 2015, right when Austin Film Society took over.
Yeah. And
I've reaped the benefits from it.
For sure.
Talk about some of the things that you've adjusted. Y'all are on, 4 cable providers. You got the Roku. Now we can stream remotely. What are some benefits that people, in the Austin area and the surrounding counties can tap into? What are some of the things that y'all jumped into the new 2020, you know?
Yeah. So as far as the difference between now and then is, now we have the over-the-top devices. So we have Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire now we've added recently. And those have the video on demand. So anything that's aired, we try to get onto the video on demand for at least 1 to 3 months. We have a limited capacity with the amount of gigs that we have for the VOD. So that's one thing. We're way more accessible, and it's not just the channels. Google Fiber has come on. And so at the time when AFS took over in 2015, we were still in standard definition on the channels, which a few of the cable companies we still are. But Google Fiber came into town. We got Google Fiber free. I believe it was a 10-year contract through the Community Connect. And so that started actually, the application started in 2013, but we didn't get it until the time that AFS took over. And so they actually took us in HD on their channels, on their TV platform. And so that really pushed a huge, push for us for HD content. And I know it seems a little late. And when you think, 2015, we're just now doing HD content, but it's just, a lot of public access stations are still struggling with that, with standard definition versus high definition, because the cable companies are not legally required to carry us in HD. And so Google Fiber really helped push that. And so now all content coming to us is in HD, all the VOD, the streams, everything's in HD online. And so that's a huge difference. The gear is another huge difference. I remember with a small nonprofit of 9 people at Channel Austin, we're sitting around the table and we all have to put our marketing hats on. And I don't have a marketing background, but we did our best. And we're thinking, how can we tap into this amazing filmmaker community that Austin has? But we don't have the gear. We had a camcorder, we had tripods, we had some basic, hot light kits, the older Mole and Lowell kits that we have. We had, a decent amount of microphones actually, but it just wasn't gear that filmmakers were attracted to. And so it was just kind of, how do you attract this? What comes first? So with AFS, we really went after the gear. We went after the grip gear. We went after the better cameras. We went after, the better microphones and more diverse light kits. And so that, I think, just with AFS having the connection with all the film makers in town and all their members, and then once we had the gear, it flowed. It made sense, and it kind of sells itself at that point, right? With becoming a producer at Austin Public, because the price, if you can't afford the price, there's scholarships, but then the gear makes sense. The networking makes sense. The classes were doubled, the amount of classes that we, host. Instead of just the certification level classes, there's now a second level where, you can, get further intermediate advanced techniques. Instead of just learning the buttons on the camera, you can now learn how to tell a story with it and framing and what, lens versus, this lens. And so everything's been expanded. Is a long version. Sorry, I talk a lot, but
you're good.
Across the board, everything at Austin Public has been grown and expanded since Austin Public or AFS took over.
So what are some of I know you mentioned the gear, as someone who's wanting to, doesn't have access to a camera, wants to get started, what are some of the cameras y'all have available if you're a producer at Austin Public?
So we have, actually, let me screen share the website while we're here. So we have 3 different levels. We have the camcorder level, and then we have the DSLR level, and then we have the cinema style camera. They're all going to be Sony except for our older Canon 5D Mark III, which is still a really good camera, but we decided to not go with the Mark IV. We instead decided to go with the Sony A7. So let me screen share this real quick. Let me screen share our website. All right, so we're up. All right, so this is our resources page on the website. And you can see hopefully you can see the web link up there. But anybody can go to this and they can click on the cameras page and you'll be able to see the cameras that we have. So we have the Sony NX5 and it's the NX Cam. It's an older camcorder, but shoots full HD, 24 frames a second. We have the Z280 camera, which is the newer one, shoots 4K. It's actually what I'm filming on right now. I have one here to teach the online classes and do these interviews. And it's a really good camera. The Sony FS5 is our best cinema style camera. And then we've got the Canon 5D and the Sony A7 for our DSLRs. Sony A7 is awesome, great for low lighting. And then our tripods. So this is the best place to go. And if you guys haven't checked these out, you can definitely come in here and check these out. This is all the lighting gear that we have.
I like those Drakecasts.
Yeah, the Drakecasts are great. Those bendable ones. I haven't used them a whole lot, but they're just so much easier to use than.
There's one.
Less to it.
The camera that you said that the 5D Mark III, that was the same camera that Mike Blizzard used to shoot his documentary, also starring Austin.
Awesome. There's a lot. Yeah, it takes really good video. There's a reason why we bought them. I believe we have 4 of them still, and we still teach it. And it's a great camera. But like I said, instead of going for the Mark IV, we decided to go in the Sony A7S II.
Where it's at right now. That low light, with
yeah.
A7S II, and then basically you can be shooting with literally no lights, just like street lights.
Yeah.
You can get enough light. The other thing, what was I forgetting? Oh, well, you were showing us cameras. Well, you all have prime lenses too. So if a filmmaker needs more light, shooting, they can.
Yeah, so I don't have a page on it, but we do have the Rokinon E mount and EF mount kit, and then we have these larger 70 to 200 lens.
And y'all recently got a lens that is more expensive than some cameras. The lens that goes on.
Yeah, so that's the 70 to 200. Yeah.
That lens is amazing because literally you have an aperture of 2.8 through all the focal lengths. I'm sorry, I'm getting into camera jargon, but anyone who's a filmmaker would love to know about that, and that's a great research.
For sure.
I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I know we've gotten kind of long, Doug, but one thing I wanted to mention before we're done is that just because a lot of us, are staying at home and there are some people that stay at home anyway. And if you find yourself not having something to do, what you can do is you can go and volunteer. I know that the Austin Food Bank is needing people. I saw a video the other day that somebody posted where they just drove by and the line waiting to try to get some kind of food was huge, man. I mean, it was a huge line. So there's a lot of people out there that, me included, that, I'm pretty lucky that I have plenty of food and plenty of water and, everything that I need. But there's people out there that don't have that. And if you have kids, of course you don't want to expose them, now, but, teach your kids that it's good to volunteer. I used to take my kids every other Thanksgiving. We would go and we would serve homeless people at different churches and different shelters. And then we'd sit and we'd eat with all these homeless people. And I taught my kids that, just because you have it good doesn't mean that other people, have it good. So if you can't find anything to do and you're bored, there's a lot of organizations, the American Red Cross, there's a lot of organizations, just to mention one, but there's a lot of organizations in Austin and probably in your town, wherever you live, that, there's people out there that need help. There's people out there, dude, Meals on Wheels, those people that are shut-ins or people that are older and can't get out,
that can't
dude, they need help too. So, if you find yourself bored and don't have anything to do, there's people out there that will put you to work. And it's an awesome feeling to, and you won't understand what I'm talking about until you do it. But it's an awesome feeling to just take time out of your life to help other people.
You feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
You're helping your community. Because there's people right now that can't literally travel, older people that need essential goods like groceries, even toilet paper. Y'all crazy people buying all the toilet paper. So, yeah. So just, people need some goods. So maybe, in a safe way, go out and check on your older neighbors, make sure they have groceries, go to H-E-B or, your local grocery store, but get them some groceries if they need them. And, check on your neighbors, because at the end of the day, it's about making sure our community is okay and that, that were sustained during this pandemic.
Yeah, and ask your neighbors if they need help.
Yeah.
No,
it's a good pitch. I've actually talked more with my neighbors through this, within 6 feet, than I have ever. I feel like I have a couple neighbors that I know more than the others, but I feel like everyone's out walking so much more, and so it's interesting. Like you said about some of the other stuff we've talked about, it's really interesting that the good things that we'll take out of this. But yeah, thanks for pitching all that. Did you have something else to say, G?
Well, the only other thing I was going to say was, and for fun, if you have a drone, what I'm doing is putting a note on the drone, and then I'll fly it over to a neighbor's property, and just to freak them out, and it'll just say hello, or it might have something attached to the note, that they can take in later on.
Yeah, okay.
So just get creative, man, but be helpful. Help your neighbors, because a lot of them aren't going to ask you because they're embarrassed to ask. But dude, a lot of them, a lot of people were caught, off guard and don't have food, and don't have the basic necessities. So a friend of mine that delivers for a company was telling me that in the wealthier parts of town, meaning like Lakeway, Westlake, that people were putting rolls of toilet paper outside of their on their patio, and food and stuff like that, so that anybody that needed it, it's there for them. So
I had I don't live in those areas. I live in like South Austin, but there was by the mailbox, somebody had a bin full of toilet paper and said, just take a roll if you need it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of acts of kindness, and I will just things that I am passionate about and I've been pitching people is AIC right now with online education is in about a 15,000 device hole. They're needing about 15,000 devices. Usually, things Windows, any gently used, new that you can either loan. I know Ruckify website has stepped in to help, and they're the Rent Anything website, and they're helping out getting loaner computers. And so there's actually going to be all these families were selected already, but they're doing a drive-through. The city donated 200 laptops to Austin Freenet, who's right next to us at Austin Public, and they're doing a drive-through pickup for families who are in need devices for their kids to do online training. So if anybody has devices at home that they can donate, I'm sure people have old computers that are sitting around. You may not even remember that hidden in your closet somewhere. And if it's newish or has a Windows 10, I'm not sure which level. I'm a Mac guy, but definitely reach out to Austin Freenet, and they are collecting these, and they're making training videos for families and getting that stuff out there. So that's kind of my plug for that.
Awesome. Well, Doug, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm all of a drink.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We're about to hit an hour anyway, and I have a call that I need to make. But one last, quick answer. What's what are you looking forward to the most when you get to return to do your live show at the station? Real quick, within a minute.
The ease.
God, it's really nice to walk into the studio. You got a control room. Got the control room. I got the cameras. We got a stage now, or we're gonna have a band, full band in there. Of course, 6 feet during this time, but it's just not like there's so much great stuff at Austin Public that y'all really need to take advantage of it. The studios, they have 3 different studios in a small space. We got computers where I can go finish my film. I want to go edit it, and there's so many great things we can do at Austin Public to create, and I just
20 seconds.
Casey, keep creating.
Yeah.
Don't stop creating,
keep
man.
creating, everyone.
Yeah.
Because during this time we need content, so go create.
All right.
That's it. I got to go make another drink.
Later, guys.
All right. Peace, Dougie.
Yeah. Take care, Doug, and keep working hard. You and Charles and Brian, we love all y'all.